everyone. Welcome to Swoon-Worthy, a podcast hosted by two sisters who have a passion for period dramas and movies and series set in different time periods. Today, we are with our friend Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
Hi. And if you tuned into our Moulin Rouge episode or our A Room with a View episode, you may remember Stephanie, who joined us back then. So thanks for joining us again. Today's episode, we are going to talk about Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, which is going to be a really fun one. We're going to talk about Tim Burton a lot. We're going to talk a little bit about the story itself, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which was published in 1819 by Washington Irving. So, hope you enjoy the episode. Okay, so first question, Kayla, Stephanie, do you have any memories or connections with the story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, or perhaps the Tim Burton movie? Anyone? I don't really. I don't either. So I'm just.
Well, I was gonna say that I remember when I was little, you showed me the cartoon. It's a Disney cartoon, right?
Hmm.
And I thought
Hmm.
it was kind of spooky, honestly. It kind of scared me. But at the same time, I was intrigued by the story. And I liked the character of Ichabod. I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you're talking about the 1949 Disney animated movie. And I think we used to like try to make it spookier, like probably turn the lights off and try to like,
Oh my
do you remember
gosh. Core memory unlocked. Yes. What was wrong
that?
with us?
Spooky is fun when you're a kid, you know? What about you, Stephanie? Have you seen the animated movie?
No, I don't think I have seen that. I mean, I feel like I probably have at some point, but I don't recall it at all. I just remember watching this Tim Burton version that we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, and one more thing, it's that you might like about it, Stephanie, just because you like vintage things too. Bing Crosby is like the singer and the voice of the movie. It's really interesting. I don't know. It's fun. It's on
That's
Disney
wild.
Plus. Yeah. And then one other thing, Stephanie, also you might be interested in. Did you know that there's a 1980 movie, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, starring Jeff Goldblum as Ichabod Crane?
No.
I can't find, I've never seen it, but if you look up, if you Google a picture right now, like it looks so good.
I
I
want to
want to
see
see.
that.
Like he looks the part.
It makes sense. Something about it makes sense.
Yeah. So in the future, maybe we'll be able to find that one. But okay, on to Sleepy Hollow, the movie by Tim Burton. Um, this one, I don't know. I know it was from 1999,
Hmm.
and he was already pretty established with, having done his short films originally, like Frankenweenie and what is it, Vincent, and then Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands. So he was already quite well known, but this one I think was probably a blockbuster. I don't remember it. We were very young.
Hmm.
Do you remember, do you know anything about the reception in 1999 stuff?
I don't really remember. Like you said, we were really young. We would have been around 11, you and I, Carly, and Kayla, a couple of years younger than that. But Um, yeah, I my memory of it is renting it from Blockbuster, definitely. And then I think it used to play on TV a lot, right?
I think so. Yeah. But
Yeah.
even though it is rated R, so they might have on cable like cut some of it out or
Right.
something.
It's pretty gory, but the cast is stacked. Like I couldn't believe it rewatching it last night. I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many legends."
Yeah, so let's talk about the cast. So obviously Johnny Depp, a Tim Burton staple, right?
Mhm.
Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, and then Christina Ricci. So very much, Adam's family. And I mean, this is like the perfect Tim Burton cast. Miranda Richardson's in it, who is always spooky and wonderful. And then you have all these like Harry Potter and Star Wars characters popping up.
Yeah, Christopher Lee, Ian McDermott, like all these incredible actors. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
everyone wants to work with Tim Burton, I think.
Yeah. And then I think I read that Christopher Lee like gives a lot of credit to Tim Burton because he kind of got his career back on track because he had been in, you know, he'd been acting many years before that, but giving him some really cool roles. And then, of course, we know him as Count Dooku, and then Palpatine's in this. And then, like Harry Potter, there's like the Mr. Dursley, and then Michael Gambon.
Hmm.
There's our Dumbledore.
Yeah, and Miranda Richardson is also in Harry Potter. So
Yeah. So it was just it's kind of fun to see all the familiar faces in this setting. So for this movie, they take us back to 1799 because
hmm
it's like right before the turn of the century. They kind of mentioned that a couple times. And our Ichabod Crane, Johnny Depp, this is not like the typical Ichabod Crane from the story. He's cuter. He's not as tall and gangly, but they still kept some of his character traits from the story.
I was gonna say, I watched an interview with Johnny Depp, and he thought that originally they were gonna do prosthetics to make his arms longer, like his face longer, his nose bigger. And then Tim Burton was like, "No, I don't think we need that. We can just change, like, because his personality comes through, you know."
Hmm. That's cute. Yeah. Yeah, because I guess he's probably expecting more makeup from like Edward Scissorhands and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and
That's
Johnny
funny.
Depp said that he pictured himself when he was playing Ichabod like a preteen little girl who's just like insecure. That's what he
Okay.
said.
Interesting. I have to listen to this interview. Yeah, but I like, all the little fun parts where he's acting scared. He's afraid of a spider at one point, and he's kind of always like hiding behind Christina Ricci or even the little boy.
yes, he uses him as a shield. It's so funny.
I mean, say what you will about Johnny Depp as a person. I know, we're not even gonna get into that, but acting wise, it's just I love him and he's so good and he brings the quirky, but it's like a genuine, authentic,
Oh yeah.
fun, quirky.
Like he was made to be in Tim Burton movies, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just so good and so funny too. Like his comedic acting in this is so great, even though it's
Mhm.
like an incredibly dark film. He's just so funny. And then also just his accent too. I mean, I know it was kind of turn of the century America, but some of them had this, sort of British accent. He's just so believable
Mhm.
always.
Mhm. Oh,
It's just
totally.
really
Love him. It makes me think too. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I really want to watch Benny and June again
yes.
because he was so good in that. Yeah, no, Johnny Depp is so good. He's just so good. And this character, I mean, he brings Ichabod Crane to life for sure. They make him instead of a teacher, a school teacher of young kids, like the story, they make him Constable Crane. So he's a kind of like an investigator, cop type person from New York City and going to the town of Sleepy Hollow. And I thought it was interesting how they said like 2 days journey north of New York City because Sleepy Hollow, which is also really near Tarrytown, New York, upstate New York, like you can get there an hour and a half from New York City or from New Jersey where I am. So it's kind of funny.
That's cool. Have you ever been there?
I have. I've been there the past 2 years because they do a lot of really cool Halloween things. Obviously, that makes sense, right? They do, um, they have the cemetery and they do tours. I haven't done that yet. And there's a bridge in there, like a bridge. And then they do this thing called pumpkin blaze where they um get all these pumpkins and carve them and light them up, and it's really cool. So that's what I've done the past 2 years. So
That's
definitely,
fun.
yeah, definitely recommend Sleepy Hollow for a visit in the fall if you ever get a
Is
chance.
there a real headless horseman ghost?
You never know. I mean, what I like about this too is that we finally get like an American ghost story kind of fairy tale thing. Like usually they're all British or German or French. It's like finally like a US one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's so famous that he's at like Disney World and stuff too. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks of Sleepy Hollow and people visiting, and there
Nice.
is a headless horseman that comes through town, I guess, for like photo ops and stuff. But I've also seen the one at Disney World a lot lately. I guess
Oh,
he rides around and it's
that's so
spooky.
fun. I've never been in October. I've always wanted to at Disney.
Oh, yeah, that would be so fun.
So cool. Yeah. So it's cool that the story um is so popular. What were you gonna say, Kayla?
What inspired it? Like, was there a real headless horseman?
That's the thing. You never know. I mean, so the whole thing is like there was during the Revolutionary War, right? In a certain battle, a nondescript battle, this Hessian was hit with a cannonball and it knocked his head off. And that's kind of where the tale came from. And that's, yeah, that Washington Irving wrote about. Um, so you never know. I mean, there's a lot of legends around the Revolutionary War and battles up here. Also in New Jersey, where I live, every old establishment likes to claim that Washington slept here once. Like that's an inside joke. Like George Washington slept here one time. Um, so I don't know. And Kayla and Stephanie, there's a Van Tassel funeral home near me.
What's that?
Ooh.
So the last name Katrina Van Tassel, the Van Tassels, that's the name of the family in the story.
Oh,
And there's a Van Tassel funeral home, and I looked it up. It was established in 1883, so that's kind of cool.
huh.
You might be onto something.
You know?
Yeah, this just feels fishy to me. Like, I really think that there's a headless horseman.
I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's get back to the story. So Ichabod Crane, he gets sent by Count Dooku to Sleepy Hollow um, to investigate some murders. I think he says there have been four murders and all lost their head. But then when he gets there, he learns that it's not just that their heads are taken away from their body and they find them. The heads are missing, which is kind of fun. No. Well, okay, not fun, but it's funny. It's a funny like scene when he's like gone, taken.
Wrong?
Um, yeah, and you can tell he's a little freaked out by that. And one of his first scenes in Sleepy Hollow is he's at this party and it's like a nice like Halloween looking party, warm vibes, the fire burning. And we have a meet cute with Katrina.
Yes. Yes. She's playing a little game and then she asks or she offers to give him a kiss, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like she's blindfolded so she can't see who she's touching and then she lands on him. I just think it's cute. I don't know.
It's kind of
And
foreshadowing because she's saying like something about a witch, and later on
mhm.
she does witchcraft.
Yes, she's like the Pickety witch, the Pickety witch.
Yeah.
Who wants to kiss? Yeah. And we see Christina Ricci with blonde hair, some pretty blonde out eyebrows. Like, what do you guys
Looks
think about this?
surprisingly really good with blonde hair because when you first see her younger, you're like, okay, she's full brunette, like that's all she could ever be. But in this movie, she looks like she could be born with that blonde hair.
This is an example of a good wig, you guys.
Oh,
Okay.
wig! See, I still didn't even think about it. I'm
No,
like,
I
oh
don't think
wow,
about it.
she dyed her hair blonde for this. Okay,
Kayla and I are like, it's just like we're blind to the
you're
wig
wig
thing.
blind.
Wig
We're
blind.
we are. Um, I remember, so I was speaking of Tim Burton, I was obsessed with Alice in Wonderland when it came out in 2010, his version and the old version. So I was Alice for Halloween and I wore a blonde wig and I like made my eyebrows blonde too. And I looked horrible, guys. I looked so bad.
Oh,
But Christina Ricci looks great.
so great in this movie. And also, I think we should just recognize the age gap here between her and Johnny Depp. It's not great, but there's not a whole lot that happens between them, so it's okay.
How
But
old was she when she made this?
like 18.
And how old was he?
9 years older?
No, he was like
No.
35,
Oh, just
36.
kidding.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. But I did read on IMDb, he said that he felt weird about it too because he had known her since she was very young. So
No.
that's good at least, I guess.
Yeah, because you think he was dating Winona Ryder, and in Mermaids, Winona Ryder is the older sister of Christina Ricci.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, Steph, it's not like they share like a romantic scene. They do like a couple kisses, little hug.
Right.
It's cute.
I watched this with mom, Carly, and I might cut this out, but she was just like, wait, they're not like a couple. She's like a little girl.
Because she's pretty short. Like at one point, the young Maspeth character or whatever is like she's comforting him, but they're like the same height, and he's like so cute, and she's like, yeah, I don't know, I don't know. It didn't bother me when I was younger. I didn't really know, and
Because when
but
we're
I,
younger, she looks older. So you're just like, okay, they're both old.
yeah, but okay, we'll move on. But also very underrated movie, The Man Who Cried. Have you ever seen that?
I
That
feel like I
also,
have. I'm trying to remember.
it's Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci again.
Oh yeah.
It's and Kate Blanchett is so good in it.
You're obsessed with her.
I am.
I saw
I
her
am.
leaf blower reel again. It was funny.
Love her to death. But
So
okay.
true. Okay.
Yeah. So The Man Who Cried, kind of a underrated period drama. Yeah. But anyways, okay, moving on. So then, he's investigating. I love it when he's in the woods investigating the recent decapitation. Oh, which by the way, Kayla, I'm just getting off track all different directions today. But speaking of the village, did you think about that when there was like that watchtower? Did you like
No, I
remember?
remember thinking like this looks just like the set of the village almost.
Yeah. So the watchtower guy gets killed and the older Maspeth. And Johnny Depp is investigating it, or Ichabod Crane, sorry. And he puts on those really cool goggles. He has that bag that has like the chemicals. Like it's so Tim Burton and just wonderful, right?
Yeah. It's sort of like steampunk vibes, even though it's like supposed to be science. It's just very I don't know, like the aesthetic of it is very cool.
I was thinking that too. And then are we talking about the part where he's inspecting the headless body? Well, so mom said something funny. She was like, because he threw that dust on it, it was like it looks like there was a swift motion here. And mom was like, well, yeah, you didn't need that to tell that. Like it was just funny.
Yes, the chemical reactions and this, yeah, he's doing his thing. Got to just, what is it, the suspension of disbelief or whatever. He knows his science. I don't know. Um, yeah, so this took home the Oscar for art and set direction, which I'm sure, yeah, Stephanie looked that up probably.
Yeah.
An Oscar nominated for costume design by Colleen Atwood, of course. But the fact that it won for art and set direction, I think it was perfect. Like it almost has like a blue Tim Burton filter, blue gray. The costumes are amazing. The all the details are there in this one.
Yeah,
The,
it's really beautiful. Like even though it's such a dark, like muted colors, it's very different from Tim Burton's other movies to me because his other movies are very like polished and colorful for the most part. And this one is very just grimy and muted colors, but still
Mhm.
somehow like so beautiful to watch.
So beautiful. And I love the twisty tree. Like that feels very Tim Burton to me. And oh, and the scarecrow at the beginning.
That's what I was gonna say. That
That's
it
right.
looked straight out of like, the Nightmare Before Christmas or something.
Hmm. Okay, one more thing about our mom. Oh my gosh, mom is so funny. But so my mom loves to decorate the house. Our mom loves to decorate the house with pumpkins. And one of them looked really Tim Burton themed to me. I can't even remember
It
I
was like
can't
wooden
describe,
and it was like dark wooden pumpkin.
like twisty maybe, like the stem. And I go, oh my gosh, that pumpkin is so Tim Burton. And then mom goes, I can't remember what his face looks like. Like she thought she thought I meant like his face looked like I don't know. It was just really funny.
Yeah, it had to be there, I guess, but it was funny.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that.
But yeah, so he has just yeah, but I do like what you said, Stephanie, how this is different and maybe it was a different art and set direction, but okay, shout out, I guess, to Rick Heinrichs and Peter Young, who took home the Oscar that year. So that's pretty cool. And then Colleen Atwood. pretty much all of his movies, I believe, are designed by Colleen Atwood, like every single one of them.
Yeah. I would love to see her award room. She's got to have like a whole room just dedicated to all of her awards she's won.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. And I think her Tim Burton ones are just some of the best, and we'll talk about Katrina's costumes probably along the way. Um, and yeah, so then he kind of gets Ichabod Crane gets a little tip that, oh, it's four graves, but there's actually five deaths. So then he investigates a little more and realizes that one of them was a woman who had an unborn child. So he really, there is an underlying like mystery here. They're actually trying to solve a mystery. It's kind of like your classic, you know, mystery detective story, but then you have all the wonderful artistic elements. And um yeah, he's doing his thing. But then, every once in a while you get some supernatural moments and you get some fun Katrina moments. So at one point they're in the woods and then Katrina comes on horseback into the scene, and I love her cape. It's like
Yeah.
that silvery blue with the red roses, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it's so beautiful. I love a cape.
Oh, totally. And this is probably, I, if I could design a cape, it would be like that silvery blue color and then the red, like, oh, it's beautiful. I like the moments between them where he has like the optical illusion cardinal and a cage twisty thing. I think it's called a thaumatrope.
Mhm. I remember making that in like middle school.
That's cool.
That is cool. What did you draw on it? Do you remember? Was it a bird in a cage or was it
Well, if we
something
just
else?
colored it in, I mean, it was more about making it, you know?
Okay, that doesn't answer a question. What was
What was
the
the question?
what was the object
It
on
was a
it? Was it
bird
a
in a cage.
okay? Oh, okay. And we didn't really mention that Katrina has a suitor, Brom. Brom Bones is his nickname. And I looked up, so Abraham is the name in this story, and Brom is like the nickname. You don't get many Broms or even Abrahams nowadays, but
I like it. I'm gonna add that to my list, like Penry. And what was the other one?
I don't remember Kayla.
Penry and something else.
You have a bunch of them from from the podcast, from period dramas. But there's always an element where he's like pranking Ichabod, right? So they throw that in this one. It's in the cartoons, it's in the other movie versions where he pretends to be the Headless Horseman to scare Ichabod. And I don't know, it's just always good. But they really don't put Brom in a lot of this story, whereas in the written story, he actually ends up with Katrina in the written story.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
interesting.
Yeah. He doesn't die in that. He ends up with Katrina. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that's not what happens here.
Yeah. All right. So that's probably all we'll say about Brom. Yeah, he does a prank and then he kind of dies. So but also a very Tim Burton thing is like the flashback sequences. So that cardinal optical illusion thing we were talking about, they flash back and his mother gave him that. And his mother, we got to talk about that actress,
And let's talk
Lisa
about the
Marie.
dress. Sorry. That was some cleavage.
Kayla.
This is the first time I noticed that, but it was like open, like
It was, but she was a little witchy and it fit her character. And that dress, I can't tell what it is because of the coloring of the movie itself. Is it a purple or blue or indigo? Stephanie, what do you think?
I really don't know either, but I was going to say she was his girlfriend at the time. So that probably is why she had a very busty dress on.
Yes, Kayla,
Are
this
you
is
serious?
Yeah, this is Lisa Marie.
Wait, who's
Um,
whose girlfriend?
okay, Kayla, Tim Burton was dating her
Oh, okay.
for
Wow.
many years, and she was inspiration for Sally.
Oh, so cool.
She
Okay.
was
Yeah.
also in Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice just recently,
Oh,
Oh, I
I
haven't seen
believe.
it yet. Yes, along with his current girlfriend, Monica Bellucci. I mean, I wanted to talk a minute about Tim Burton's love life because he always has these beautiful ladies that he dates and marries. Like, well, no, not marries, but dates. I think
Yeah.
he was in a common law marriage with Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh my
Do
God.
we think that they are his muses in a way? It's very much seems so, right?
Yes,
Oh,
definitely. Very much like art and muse.
yeah. I feel
Oh my
like
gosh.
he's such, as a filmmaker, he's like the most I think of as like a true artist, because each one of his films is almost like his own painting style. And I feel like his characters, it's like I always see a part of him in each one. They just look just
Yeah.
like him. They all have like the clean cut like hair and like the pale skin.
Kind of. I mean, Helena is very much her own person though.
No,
Like, you know,
I'm talking about the male character.
oh, you're talking about the character he writes, the
Like,
male character in his
yeah.
story.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree, Kayla. I do think that he obviously has a very strong aesthetic, and um, a Tim Burton movie when you see it. But I think it's also worth mentioning that there is a lot of controversy out there too, because he pretty much has only white casts, and a lot of people think that he's not inclusive at all, which
Oh,
he's not.
okay. Would you
But
say he's trying to fix that though with the Wednesday series?
possibly. And also in Beetlejuice, there was a whole Soul Train sequence, which is like the best part of the movie.
Yeah, okay.
And so that was fun. But yeah, maybe he is listening somehow. Probably not. He doesn't strike me as the type who probably connects with people and listens, but maybe
Okay.
so. I really don't know. He's
I don't know.
kind of, I don't know. He seems like he's a very funny and fun director
Mm-hmm.
from what people say, but
Mm-hmm.
the whole like dating the main actress
Mm-hmm.
and all white actor type thing, that kind of makes me like, ooh, I don't know if he's
Okay.
the best person, but I really don't know.
No, we don't know. And no, that's it's good to bring these things up. I guess on the not talking about the diversity thing, but I was always thinking like it sounds like I haven't heard any bad things about him as far as how he treats women, which is good. Because, he has these like pretty top star named actresses that he has been in relationships with. I mean, Monica Bellucci, crazy. She's just the most beautiful woman.
Absolutely. One of the most beautiful women in the world. And again, she was in Beetlejuice, and
Hmm.
it was a totally pointless part. But he just like had to throw her in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when you think about like Helena Bonham Carter, like she
Uh-huh.
does not suffer fools, like
Right.
I can't imagine her being with anyone who's not a decent person or who
Yeah.
well,
So I guess
but
on that line, I like to think of him as perhaps above board in that sense. I mean, yeah, Helena is just amazing. Do we think he actually dated Ava Green, or was it just a theory, just a silly?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. Probably.
I always thought so. I mean, he did three movies with her. So Dumbo was the latest one, Miss Peregrine, and then what was the first one? Oh, the one that's not good. What is that one? Dark Shadows.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
and I definitely think they were an item.
Yeah, I mean, and she's just so beautiful. She's one of my favorites too. Oh my gosh. All these beautiful women. Okay, enough about Tim Burton as a person. But no, valid point, Stephanie.
What's y'all's favorite Tim Burton movie?
Edward Scissorhands for sure. That was a childhood favorite of mine and my sister's. We loved that, and we loved Sleepy Hollow as well. And I also love Big Fish.
Oh, I know. Big Fish is so underrated, like not talked about, and it's so good.
Oh my gosh, Sean
Kayla,
loves that movie.
I really, Kayla, you and we saw Charlie in the Chocolate Factory a lot when we were younger.
That's embarrassing.
Should we not talk about that?
That's okay. We were in the age bracket, and
Well, he just was so funny. It was a funny movie. Corpse Bride is also great. I love his animated one. So I have to say The Nightmare Before Christmas might be my favorite. And he didn't even technically direct it, but it's his creation.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Okay, some other fun Katrina moments. So she gives him a book and says to keep it close to his heart, which is cool because later he may get shot or stabbed, and it's always there to protect him, which is kind of a sweet little detail. And then I love the quote where she's like, "Do you think me wicked?" And he's like, "No, but perhaps there's a little bit of witch in you, Katrina." And she says, "Why do you say that?" And he says, "Because you have bewitched me." I
Oh.
think it's so cute.
Very cute.
Um, yeah. And then what do we think about the really witchy moments, like the scary veiled woman in the cave who we
Well,
don't know who it is yet?
Well, before that, because I hadn't seen this movie in a while, and so when the stepmother, the evil stepmother, is in the forest and she's having her little time with whoever guy was, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is shocking. But then the next scene, she's like, they like talk or whatever, and she's like, oh yeah, just don't tell anybody. And he doesn't like really, it doesn't click with him that like maybe she's part of this whole thing. Like, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, because she's playing the dutiful housewife, stepmother, right? Miranda Richardson's character, Lady Van Tassel, I guess now. And also she has amazing costumes in this.
Yes. Yeah. Her costumes are so beautiful. I love them. The gray one, like you were talking about how she was chatting with him afterwards. I think that's when she's wearing the gray. I may be wrong. But she has this one that's like gray with flowers and
Mhm.
there's all kinds of different patterns mixed together. It's so pretty.
Yeah. And like a lot of like I think in the first scene when you first see her, it's like a gold and black and there's just a lot of swirls. So her costumes are great. And we didn't even talk about at the beginning where there's the little twins in the Hessian story with Christopher Walken. Oh my gosh, we didn't even talk about Christopher Walken.
He's so creepy in this. So creepy. Like, why are his teeth like that? That makes no sense.
Very
I don't
creepy. But I
know.
love when he's like, shh, and she's like,
I know. That was always such a funny moment when you're a kid, when you're watching this
it's
movie. It
very
was like,
Tim Burton humor, you know?
yeah. So you
Mm.
have the little twins there, and then if you're connecting the dots, or if you've already seen this, you realize that the witch in the cave has to be the twin sister to the stepmother, Miranda Richardson. Um, one of them's doing better than the other. One of them's living in a cave. The other one is trying to become the mayor of Sleepy Hollow, I guess. I don't know. We learned that she's the one controlling the horsemen.
Mhm.
And as you said, Kayla, Ichabod Crane doesn't connect the dots for a long time. In fact, he even suspects Katrina because when he's afraid of the spider at that one point, they pull the bed over, and like there's a drawing of chalk, like a witchy star item um diagram kind of thing. And he's like, oh my gosh, Katrina is trying to put a spell on me. He's very suspicious of her. She was in his room, but she's just trying to protect him. It's kind of a little good witch moment. And yeah, he even at one point like leaves town thinking like, oh, she did it and I'm not going to charge her with murder. I'm just going to let it happen. And then he's like, okay, no, it's the stepmother. So definitely kind of all over the place with the plot here, guys, but we don't have to go line by line. Um, Katrina, I mean, everyone dies in this movie too at some point, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's so true. I actually really love like again, we're kind of jumping around here, but at the end in the church,
Mhm.
like that scene where
Mhm.
she's, like passed out after she sees
Yes.
her father die, and then like everyone's just laid out. It's just so beautiful to look at, even though it's gory and crazy, but I just love it.
I know. It's just the right, the right like Halloween aesthetic that you want. Yeah, totally. I'm with you. So I think 18 people get their heads taken off in this. And I think that includes Christopher Walken's character and the background story. But yeah, that's a lot of deaths, a lot of gore, a lot of violence.
Oh yeah,
And
the part with when he's chopping the tree and it just squirts on his face. I'm like, ugh.
Yes, the bloody tree. Like that's so cool. I watched a little behind the scenes interview with that part where they were like testing it and they were joking about how like Tim just loves like throwing blood on Johnny's face.
yeah, that's so funny. And then again, it like looks so cool because everything's, you know, like that filtery blue and eerie, and then it's like the blood just stands out.
Yes.
Um,
It's so cool. I love it.
yeah. So very good aesthetics. Yeah. And then I have to say, so the intro, the very opening credit scene felt like it took forever. It was just a little draggy. I don't know if you agreed with that. And then the whole scene where there's like a horse chase scene. So this is when they're kind of trying to survive from the Headless Horseman, and because the stepmother is trying to control him to kill Katrina. Like, I don't know, I kind of like lose interest a little bit. And I know it's cool. Maybe it's an action scene that some people really dig, but like, I'm like, okay, come on, let's just get to
In the
this
beginning.
is both like the very opening credits and then the end scene, the end chase scene. I'm like, oh my gosh, how much more?
I actually like the beginning a lot. And
Okay.
I like the beginning a
Okay.
lot.
So maybe it's just me. I don't know. Steph, what do you think?
No, I see what you're saying. It, even though it's not a long movie at all, I still think, yeah, it probably could have been trimmed down a little bit just to make it like, I don't know, a little more easy to digest. But um, it's fun. The action is definitely fun, especially like the horse carriage part. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
again, I saw or I read that, it was actually in that interview that I watched. Johnny Depp actually was being pulled by the horses. Like that was really him doing his own stunt. So he had like
Wow.
bulletproof clothing underneath his costume and everything. And
That's
also,
cool.
I wanted to mention because of the sequences that you mentioned, the music in this movie is so intense. It's crazy. I mean, it's really cool, but it's just like, gosh, it's nonstop.
It's nonstop. Yeah. So music by Danny Elfman, which is, Nightmare Before Christmas and all that too. Um, which I think Danny Elfman sings the songs, right, of Jack Skellington, even though it's voiced by Chris Sarandon when he speaks, but when he sings, it's Danny Elfman. I don't know. I always thought that was fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, plot wise, I don't know. I I always I always forget the plot, and then I when I rewatch it I'm like, what's happening here? I know the stepmother's evil, but like what's going on here? There's a bunch of old men.
Yeah, I kind of
What
agree with you. Um, I don't know. I kind of think it'd be cool to see another version of the Headless Horseman story. It's very intriguing because it is kind of an American folklore that we don't really have a lot of, you know?
hmm
So it'd be cool to see someone else's Sophia Coppola. A Sophia Coppola Headless Horseman Sleepy Hollow.
Ooh, probably be kind of beguiled, like
Oh, yeah.
maybe you get Colin Farrell in it.
It'd be like a pink shirt or something.
Oh geez, Kayla. No, so I did watch for fun. Okay, so I on it's you know how sometimes you're watching a streaming service and it recommends things for you. Amazon Prime recommended a 1999 TV movie of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And you know what? I just clicked yes, let's watch it. And it's very true to the book, the short story by Washington Irving. I thought that Ichabod Crane was really funny and really, really good.
I want to
I think
watch
his name was Brent Carver. He was great. The Katrina Van Tassel was abysmal. She just her acting was not there.
Abysmal. Oh
Is
no.
that is that harsh? It was just very dry. Like you when you think of your Christina Ricci or some of your other female leads in Tim Burton movies.
Well, wasn't the character kind of dry? Like in the cartoon, I know the girl was kind of vapid.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
just
that
kind
was.
of there. She looks so much like Cinderella in the animated movie by Disney. The artwork looks like Cinderella. But okay, you're probably right, Kayla. And we talked about the Jeff Goldblum movie. Haven't seen that one. And then when we were younger, guys, do you remember being advertised a 2004 TV movie called The Hollow?
That sounds
Does
so
this ring a bell?
familiar. Yeah.
Kaylee Cuoco was the female. It was a modern setting, I think.
Oh no.
And it was Kevin Zegers, who you may know from like the young Air Bud movies or like Gossip Girl, and then Kaylee Cuoco. And it's rated so poorly on IMDb, but I really want to rewatch it.
What network?
I want to say it was not Disney or ABC, it was something else.
Oh my gosh. I so
Is
remember
this coming
that.
back? Yeah.
Yes. No wonder she's always kind of looked familiar to me. Like when I first started watching The Big Bang Theory, I'm like, she looks familiar.
It's from this, I swear. Because I remember they advertised it very heavily, and everyone tuned in on a Friday night or something to watch it on cable, and it was like not good.
I want to watch it. I bet it's
I want to
wonderful.
watch it. Yeah,
TV movies used to be such a thing. Isn't that funny to like look back on? TV movies were huge.
Yeah, it wasn't Hocus Pocus a TV movie?
I think it might have been.
I think it was.
But like, oh, the Cinderella movie with Brandy that we love.
Oh yeah.
But okay, The Hollow is a 4.5 on IMDb.
Oh man.
It's a
But
movie?
yeah, it's a TV movie.
Oh,
Rated R. Wow. Yeah, so in the end, the Headless Horseman gets his head back. Johnny Depp, I mean, Ichabod Crane returns his head, and I mean, the stepmother gets what's coming to her, right?
She sure does. She goes right back into that tree.
After a little kiss from Christopher Walken,
oh yeah.
That was
bloody.
crazy. Walken was so crazy in this. Like, who would have thought? And he was like fighting and stuff. Like his physicality is so weird, and I don't know. It was just bizarre. I like.
Yeah, for sure. It was kind of odd. And then they ended on a nice happy note, right? So we have Ichabod Crane and Katrina Van Tassel and young Masbeth. They get to go to New York City and live a life away from Sleepy Hollow, and it's a perfect ending.
It's
Right?
very cute.
And this is where she wears, Stephanie, I know this is your favorite dress in the movie.
Yes, yeah. So rewatching it last night, I was like, "Where's the dress? Where is this dress?" I totally didn't realize that she only wore it for 2 seconds in the movie, but it made
Yeah.
some impact.
It's so beautiful. It's the black and white stripes. Um, I think I read that it was the same Beetlejuice fabric of the suit from Beetlejuice.
No
Like same,
way.
yeah. So it's kind of like a nice throwback to that. And I this time I watched it, I noticed she had this pretty little light blue bow, yeah, with some faint black stripes. Um, and her hair looked cute, and I mean, this gown is just beautiful, and it has the bustle in the back. I mean,
Yeah,
to
it
die
almost
for.
looked like a wedding dress in a way because it almost looked like she was wearing a veil. That bow almost looked like a veil. So
Mm.
it kind of made me think like, did they get married? Is this like
Aw.
post wedding or something? I don't know, but it's just such a classic dress. I love it so much.
You know what? I like that theory, Steph, because I was thinking when I watched this last night, for them to go to New York City unchaperoned in a carriage, even though all of her family is dead still. But maybe let's go with that theory, Stephanie. They got married. They're adopting this little boy, or he's going to be their servant. I don't know. He's going with them. No, they're friendly. They're cute. Cute little family. And they're going to New York City, and they're going to celebrate the new century, the new turn of the century. I liked that bit.
Yeah, it's very cute. Even though the kid is like her age, probably they're like 2 years apart. But yeah,
True.
either they just got married or they just don't care about appearances.
True. True. But if he wants to, rise up in the ranks of his police life, he's gonna have to put a ring on that finger back then.
Do we think
Uh,
he continued this career since he's so squeamish?
That's a good point. It is just
Probably
like,
let him retire after all that.
yeah, yeah. I think at one point he mentions like a lifetime of horror. He's like, he's had enough. Like, when the first time he tries to leave Sleepy Hollow. I don't know, but New York City, maybe he can get a different job, something a
Yeah.
little tamer, and maybe she can practice her witchcraft. I don't know. Who knows? There could be a sequel. I mean, nowadays you're gonna always get a sequel.
Well, who would
Like,
y'all cast as Ichabod and Katrina and even the Headless Horseman?
ooh, who wants to
Like
go
in a
first?
continuation of this story or in a remake?
Yeah, like if you're gonna remake the movie.
Okay. Because I was going to say I would like to see them in like a continuation as they are. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That would be cool. I definitely would watch
I
that.
think this story could also work as like a mini series or like a show or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of like how they're doing the Wednesday series from, the Addams Family, which was a series before Tim Burton. Anyways.
Oh my gosh, I would love to see an M. Night Shyamalan version of this story.
That could be cool. But I feel like he's so into his own original stories,
Yeah, that's
does
true.
he do?
He likes to come up with his own crazy
But
stories. Oh my gosh, are we in different
mhm.
times? Different Are you listening to me?
Yes.
Had it glitched again.
Wait, okay. Back to the recasting. So I was thinking about this. I was trying to think who could be Ichabod, and then I kept thinking about the TV series Turn and picturing JJ Field and Jamie Bell in those tricorn hats, and I couldn't get away from it. But I don't know if they capture the quirkiness. So then I was thinking Nicholas Holt is pretty quirky.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
He's the right age too. Because I
Yeah.
was thinking like someone, mid 30s like Johnny was.
I think Timothy Chalamet would be the perfect Ichabod. He's so like he's pretty skinny and tall. He's tall, right?
Yeah. No, he probably could. And he did what the Edward Scissorhands commercial. So he's getting a little Tim Burton vibes.
Yes, that commercial, that was so cute. I forgot about that. Winona Ryder is his mom. Oh my gosh.
No, we're all fans of Timmy. Can't wait to
Yeah.
see Bob Dylan. The Bob Dylan movie. I can't wait.
Yeah, Timmy's incredible. And his physicality is so good too. I feel like he could add a lot to
Yeah.
this kind
Oh
of
yeah.
character.
Because he was Wonka and Johnny Depp was Wonka. There you go. Okay. Anyone else, or do we want to talk about Katrina? Steph, did you have anyone else for Ichabod?
I really didn't think about this at all, but I feel like maybe Dev Patel. I think he would be really good. Another really great, like comedic, very animated actor, and he's a good age for it too. I think he'd be really cool.
Oh yeah, I'm that's on my list to watch. That one. What is that one with Dev Patel that's a period drama? Um,
Oh, the David Copperfield one.
yes, yeah.
It's very good. My dad loves that movie,
I
and
need
so
to
I
watch that.
finally watched it, and it's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that fits. I can see that too. Cool. Any Katrinas, Kayla?
What about Florence Pugh?
Maybe. I don't know.
Actually, no, I can't say that with y'all. Y'all would judge me.
You have
No.
to now.
Sydney Sweeney.
Do you know what's bad, Kayla? Is I thought that and I was like, I'm not
But
gonna say that
I
because
think she could do creepy well.
well, I was just thinking she fits the part of like if you think about the animated version of Katrina. Um, but I don't want to want to ever cast her as anything. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let's do better.
Amanda Seyfried.
Well, yeah.
She's like almost
She's
40,
so
but
cute.
Yeah.
like her when she was younger.
Oh no.
I know.
Yeah.
So it's funny
She was Little Red Riding Hood.
it's funny we mentioned both of them because I've been reading these silly thrillers because that's the only books I can read for some reason. And it's called The Housemaid's
Yeah.
Tale Secret or whatever. And so Sydney Sweeney's playing the young because at first I saw Amanda Seyfried and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna be the main girl. But then it was like she's playing the older girl in it, and Sydney Sweeney is playing the younger girl. So I'm like, oh my gosh, times have changed. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
It is. And then
She's
Elf.
oh
No, go
sorry.
ahead. No, you go. Say. Say it.
Amanda Seyfried,
Yeah.
excuse me. She is like one of the most beautiful people on the planet. Like so gorgeous. I'm surprised
Mhm.
she hasn't been in a Tim Burton film because she just has the face for it. She
I think
absolutely.
so too. Yeah.
But I was going to say, thinking of like trying to get the right age but not be creepy, like maybe Kaylee Spaney. We love her.
Yeah. Yeah. And she would bring depth to the character.
Yes.
She can do. Why are you laughing at
I just feel
that?
like you're saying that in contrast to Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah. Well, because think of her as Priscilla,
Yeah.
she she was able to do a more soft-spoken, demure character, but bring a lot of depth to it. Like
Oh,
she just does that so well.
Lily Rose Depp. Keep it in the
Yeah.
Depp family.
Well, yeah, I'm curious to see her Nosferatu
When does
movie
that come out?
soon, like Christmas. Which, by the way, speaking of Tim Burton, have to talk about Sweeney Todd a little bit because it came out on around Christmas time, and that was my spookiest Christmas ever because I was obsessed with Sweeney Todd at the time. And I was like, it was like Christmas time, and I was like singing, you know, about meat pies. And then Stephanie, you and I got to see the musical on Broadway together last year.
Yes, yeah, with Josh Groban and Annalee Ashford. Oh my gosh, it was really, really good.
It was so good. And I'm so glad that there's a movie version too.
Yes, Jamie Campbell Bower, he was like everything to me. He was like my goth crush
Yeah.
because he's
So
our
good.
age. And I think that was like 2007 when the movie came out.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was really good. I know a lot of people probably don't think it was, but
I
I
liked
loved it.
it. Yeah, I loved it. I mean, because I love Helena too. She's so funny in the role. Um, just love it. Do you think Jamie Campbell Bower could have done Ichabod Crane in a
Yeah,
version?
I
Yeah.
think he could. Yeah, I would like to see him get more opportunities. He was great in Stranger Things.
Mhm.
So I would love to see him do more creepy stuff. I feel like that's, kind of what he loves. He's
Mhm.
definitely a goth at heart, I can tell.
Yes. All right, so we've done some casting choices. Anything else, Kayla? Did you want to give someone up for the Headless Horseman?
Yes. Um, hmm, hmm. Hugh Grant.
Okay. He's doing a spooky one soon.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one looks interesting. That's kind of more my type of scary movie where it's like almost comical and then just kind of more thrillery, not less. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
You know?
Yeah, I know. But yeah, okay. Well, I think we've gone through. Oh, I was also thinking Elle Fanning as a little Katrina.
Oh,
Oh, that's a good one for sure.
But then her and Nicholas Hoult, that would just be the great all over again. But anyways. Okay, so I think that covers it unless anyone else has any um recasting or casting fun things to say.
I don't think so.
All right. Um
do you think Ryan Gosling will ever be in a Tim Burton movie?
I just love the way you said that, like as if that's what you're waiting for, Kayla.
I mean, he should be with all the directors at least once.
I could see him in a Sophia movie.
Or that my brain would just like explode. If Ryan Gosling
Okay.
was with Sophia Coppola.
Well, he definitely like looks good in pink, so just totally do that. Okay. All right. Anything else we need to talk about that we need to add in to any point of the story?
I just want to say I appreciate seeing Johnny Depp in the white puffy sleeve shirt. We
Hmm.
don't talk enough about the male costumes,
Oh,
because of course the
yeah,
dresses are beautiful, but yeah, there's some really, really cool costumes for him as well.
there really are. Like even the black, yeah, with the white shirt underneath. Like it's the structure of it is just really cool. I'm with you, Steph. And then some of the other costumes. In the very opening scene, that Van Garrett character he's the first one we see beheaded. Like I was like, I like his outfit. Like that's really pretty. Like his vest. So I mean, you're right. We never talk about the men's costuming, but it's really good in this for sure.
Yeah.
That's like my second favorite time period for like clothes is like the late 1700s, you know? And
Mhm.
then my first is probably like the like early 1900s, like 1912 or whatever.
Yeah, like you're thinking Titanic, Downton Abbey,
Hmm.
sort of Edwardian, post-Edwardian.
But then the other one is more like Marie Antoinette.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, and Victorian. However,
Not my favorite. Mm-mm. No,
no. Okay.
not my favorite.
All right. I think that probably covers it. We talked a lot about Tim Burton and his muses. I was just gonna say this could be in the podcast or not, or just it's just so funny the Dutch influence here in like this part of New Jersey. Because I mentioned the Van Tassel Funeral Home, and I mentioned in the Sleepy Hollow area where they have the big thing, pumpkin blaze. It's at Van Cortlandt Manor, and it's like all the vans, and then um, some of the towns are named after Dutch places too. So it's just really interesting for this story. It's like a Dutch colony area, and all the Van Tassels, the Van
Are
whatevers.
there any Vanderwoodsons?
Vanderwoodson, no, I haven't seen that one come up, but maybe you never know.
I heard they're in that area, so
So funny.
I like that you bring that up because we all grew up in Texas and just like thinking about all the history in the Northeast, it's just so cool. Like it's just different from what we grew up with. So
Hmm.
yeah, being up there in New York City where all the history is, it's very cool.
Yeah. Yes. And in the story by Washington Irving, they mentioned the Tappan Zee. So it's two words, Tappan, and then Zee. And there's a Tappan Zee Bridge. I think they renamed it. And the Tappan Zee is the part of the Hudson River where the Sleepy Hollow Tarrytown is. And apparently that's the Tappan part was from the Lenape Native Americans, and the Z was Dutch. So it's like a combination of the Native American language and the Dutch. So like I thought that was interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. All the history here, as you said, stuff, it's interesting. We back in Texas, we got the Alamo, but over here they they have a lot of Revolutionary War and yeah,
Hmm.
and before that.
The last thing I wanted to mention, because I didn't really expand on it when we were talking about the movie, is just like how iconic Christina Ricci is
Yeah.
for people in our age group. We grew up with her with, Casper and Now and Then and
Yes.
all these movies, Mermaids. And it's just so cool to see that she's still like a working actress and she seems to be so level-headed and doing so well. And that's not the case for a lot of
Hmm.
child actors of the 90s and 80s, unfortunately. So just wanted to give her a shout out. She's so cool. I love her.
she's so cool.
Well said. Yeah, Casper was like one of our most watched
Yeah.
VHSs probably.
Yeah. Casper was
And
every.
yeah. And then Now and Then, oh my gosh, iconic movie. Also, there was this other movie, Gold Diggers. Anyone know that one?
I've
And
heard
then
of it. I can't remember what it's about, but I do know what you're talking about.
she and this other little girl, they're trying to, there's something about some like legend about gold, and they like try to go find the gold in a cave or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. And then there's one other one I was going to say about Christina Ricci.
I watched an interview with her recently when she was younger, and she was talking about how, or she was older, talking about when she was younger and she was born into a cult, and her family was abusive, or her dad was, and she found escape in on movie sets. Like she just felt like
Oh,
peace there and stuff.
oh my gosh. I didn't
And then I
know that.
remember back when I used to read. Do you remember nylon magazines? Well,
Yeah.
she was like featured in one, and then I was reading about her, and she was like, or maybe it was a video interview, but she was like, I love shopping at Forever 21. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love her.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Penelope. Penelope.
Penelope.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
Oh, her and James McAvoy, that movie is
I always
just
thought we watched that with mom, but then like I like played the trailer. I was like, we should watch this. She's like, what is she, a pig? Like, I was like not having it. I'm like, I thought we watched this, but okay.
I think we were in the van, and so she was in the front seat, and we were watching it in the on the TV. Good call, Stephanie, mentioning Christina Ricci and just our love for her in, this age group. That was a good point.
Yeah, she's the best.
All right, thank you guys for taking this journey with us through the legend of Sleepy Hollow, or just Sleepy Hollow by Tim Burton. And yeah, we talked about all the art and set direction, the costumes, the amazing cast, and had a great time doing it. Thank you, Stephanie, for bringing all of your insights and fun facts to this.
Thank you for having me again. It was very fun to join you for this spooky rendition of the podcast.
Yes, and I think we're going to see you again later with Gladiator 2.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. I'm so excited.
When does it come out again?
November 22nd. I took the day off work.
Exciting.
Yeah, we're going to see it and we're going to podcast about it.
Getting good reactions. I was a little nervous, to be honest, from the trailer, but it's getting very good reactions. So
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I was a little nervous too. I liked the teaser and then I didn't love the other trailer as much. So I'm good to hear. And be sure to check out our Instagram at Swoon-Worthy Podcast. We are celebrating spooky season there with some fun polls and posts and stories. We want to invite everyone to join our Patreon, become a member, and subscribe to us on Patreon. And shout out to one of our followers, subscribers on Patreon, Sunny. Hi, Sunny. Thank you so much. I love your enthusiasm. I know you feel the same way we do. We want to grow this community of period drama enthusiasts. It's a fun community, friendly. And yeah, thanks for your support. Oh, and be sure to share our podcast with anyone you think might enjoy this type of thing. So we'd love to just grow and keep talking period dramas with you all. All right, guys, catch you next time. Bye.